Okay. Able to hear with that on? Who's doing the pledge of allegiance? The pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Welcome, everybody. Get through this, so we'll be ready to go at 4:45. Make a motion to approve the manifest dated July 25th, 2023, in the amount of $47.88.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I make a motion to approve the manifest dated July 27th in the amount of $847,579.80.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I wasn't here, so
655 of that was a school. In the mail, you get the mail right there, the watershed news from Green Mountain. And a report from NWRA on our recyclables. And we didn't have anything in the signature folder. Okay, Audrey, you have anything?
I need new alternative dates for you to meet with the potential winter road contractor. Thursday doesn't work for Chris, Friday doesn't work for Leo.
Oh.
So what evening next week might work?
Any night this time for me?
Good. Anyway,
I am as well. Just what happens, I'm going away tomorrow, so that's why I'm not available. I'll be back till Friday. I think I put
That was gonna be like at 5:30 or something.
Okay. So I'll write to him. And I believe we've sent all of the Evans invoices to JT for hopefully some reimbursement. And I have a few things to follow up on. I have my to-do list, so I'll be in one afternoon a week to keep working on that. And I'm available for calls.
Okay, the Evans slips were from the ones today,
Yes.
because some of that is prior to the two storms.
Yeah, so JT will have to go through it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was planning on coming in and sort of do it.
I already gave you copies.
Oh, okay,
probably should start filling anyhow, just to make sure you both
yeah,
on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'll check with JP.
Do you have anything for that? I don't.
No.
Oh, good.
Chris, we get anything?
Michelle keeps me pretty busy with the emails and texts. As it stands right now, Rumney Hill Road and Snow Road should be completed, repaired today. Molly Philbrook Road, the highway to Summer Cottage section still remains closed and will probably remain closed basically until we give them the green light to fix it. There's still some repairs that need to be done on Bonnyman Road. Granite Road, the whole problem is very minor. Hobbs Road in preparation for the services this Saturday. That should be all set. There's a couple of small washouts on the side of the road that the family was concerned about. And I'm going to be placing cones there this evening. That should take care of that. It's not really a hazard. There's plenty of room to pass, just right where the washouts are. There isn't room for two vehicles to pass, but we don't want anybody driving off that kind of deep ditches, so I'll throw some cones in there this evening or tomorrow. And that'll take care of that. For the most part, we're in pretty good shape. There are a lot of complaints still about, oh gee, there's a pothole here, there's a pothole there. And not to minimize anybody's situation or to say that one person is more important than the other. We all pay our taxes, everybody's equally important. But given the circumstances and everything that happened last Sunday and the road conditions, the fact of the matter is we still have roads that are completely impassable. And if you have a pothole on your road, drive around it. I'm sorry, but that's what I'm gonna say. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm not speaking for the board, but drive around it. One of the complaints that I keep getting, the town, the municipal office does as well, is about a pothole on Pratt Road. No offense to the residents in the state of Maine. Or no offense, yeah, I know you live in Maine, but no offense to the residents in the state of Maine. But Pratt Road is, it does not benefit the town of Effingham. It really doesn't. It is a egress to Parsonsfield, part of Parsonsfield on the backside of the river. So the fact that there's a pothole there, I'm very sorry. I sympathize with the condition, but drive around the pothole. We will get to it when we get to it. So that's that. I feel like there was something else. Oh, and Bailey Road has been taken care of to the very end of the road. There's going to be further research to find out what the town's responsibility is, where the actual town road ends. And where it's perceived for the last 22 years to have ended. That situation has been mitigated. And I forgot my notes, my chart, but pretty much everything has been road things, but they continue to work on the roads. I do want to, I wouldn't do myself any justice, and this is probably going to cause eyes to roll and everything else, but the more time goes by, the more I'm finding that not a lot of Effingham taxpayers are aware of the grant that was applied for and was awarded on the 16th of January. It's a matching, well, I shouldn't say matching. We got a $400,000 grant to redo it, to build a bridge on Wilson Swamp Road. Wilson Swamp Road in that section is a highway to a summer cottage, and designated in 2015 is on our list. This board, because of the time constraints, this board majority voted to move forward with the project because we don't have to refund the $400,000 state grant. The reason why I'm bringing this up is the actual roadbed itself, where the culverts were, held up wonderful in the last storm, and when you know it, down the road, the road is completely, and still is, completely impassable because it's Wilson Swamp Road. It's a Class 6 road for all intents and purposes. I don't care what the title is now. It is a Class 6 road that is completely washed out. So our $800,000+ bridge is not going to suit anybody if the road is gone either side of it. So let's just keep that in mind come March town meeting. That's all I have. Thank you.
Well,
I have nothing.
no. Chuck is here. Do you want to ask about your town email? Or do you just want to?
Chuck Fuller, Snow Road, 2 quick items. One, I sent an email to the chair asking if the town would have any problem with the Carroll County Communications District holding strategy and planning meetings here. Occasionally, might be 1 to 2 times a month, scheduled around any other town business. The Communication District formally came into being 3 days ago with the Secretary of State's office. If you remember back at the town meeting, we voted to join the district along with 15 other towns in Carroll County. This is to expand and facilitate the expansion of broadband services to every home and business in town. The reason I'm making this request is we're going to try and use the county facilities when we can, but we do know occasionally their rooms are tied up. And we'd be looking for an hour or 2 time to be able to committee. We just do some strategy planning with the executive committee, 4 people. And it's a centrally located place for the 4 people. That's why I'm making a request.
Yeah. I have no problem with it.
I don't know.
No problem here.
Okay. Thank you very much. Second item, and I ran this by the chair yesterday when I happened to see him on the side of the road. We have a donation of security cameras to the town library by one of the citizens in town. He's not only donating the cameras, he's actually going to install the cameras. His professional background is installing security at Logan Airport, so he does have the background for it. He's donating the cameras, he's donating the installation of the 2 cameras on the exterior of the building. I want to make sure that the town is okay with that. If not, we'll basically not do it.
So where's it gonna be hooked into the computers inside the library? What, I know Wi-Fi, but
Who has access to that?
yeah, that's one
The
thing.
library, well, we can set up, anybody can have access to it. I mean, I can set it up on all your phones.
So what's your
thing? It's
What if your
24/7. The library and the computer will be the primary location for it.
Okay, so,
I'm gonna guess one or two of the trustees might also wanna have access to it. But other than that, it's a closed system to anybody. It's not just anybody can get into it.
That's another question. All right, I should have
Yeah.
gone through you and I apologize. Have you had the conversation, have you looped in the PD about this potential thing yet? Just to see if they would want that connected to them as well.
Chris, I actually talked to the sergeant a few weeks ago. Because of the different complaints that are out there around drug activity. And when I met with one of the local citizens, Mike Conti across the
Yeah.
street. Mike basically says at 1 and 2 in the morning, there's cars out there all the time. So this is more of a deterrent capability. We will require signage like we have on the front door here. We're gonna need 4 signs. So we can make it prominent on each of the doors, prominent on the backside of the building, that if you're there, you're on camera. And it's predominantly a deterrent capability, but if something happens and goes down, we'll actually have it on that capability, but we'll be able to have that on their phones if they want.
Because
Go ahead.
Because of that reason, is there a way to put a timer on the Wi-Fi? Because one of the reasons, because you just dived into part of the reasons why I'm asking this question.
Yep.
Is access to the Wi-Fi and access to service. Is one of the reasons why that's a hub for that type of activity, I believe, and has been for some time. So if there was a way to put a timer on the Wi-Fi in connection with security cameras, I think that would curb that type of behavior.
It is a 24/7 capability. And what will happen is when somebody gets within range of the camera's gonna show up in a nice red dot, almost like a laser. So you're gonna know you're on camera. It will be recorded in the cloud. And it'll be accessible for a period of time. I mean, the subscription for it, when I was talking to Mike, it's like $30 a year. So we'll figure out how to cover the $30 a year for that. I had not had a chance to get back in touch with the PD yet, because I'm assuming they'll all 3 of them want to have access to that account. Along with the library and anybody sitting at that table that would like it too. Mike did tell me when the activity occurs, you will get a beep 24/7, so you gotta be careful what you wish for relative to access.
Right.
Cause you're gonna know about it every time somebody drives in that parking lot after hours.
So moving forward, the last question is LCHIP. I mean, as far as installing cameras inside the building, what's their?
That's not gonna be an issue.
Okay, you already got to put them with signs.
Yeah.
Oh, that's-
One camera's gonna be located on the second floor. They're both gonna be inside the building,
Oh, okay,
but they're both gonna have full access to the areas where the issues are in the parking lot.
gotcha.
But as far as historic preservation, we're not gonna be in violations where LCHIP will have an issue.
If I had the amount of money outside of the building, I'd have to send an email and get permission for it, but because it's on the inside of the building, it's not an issue. And
I'm in
I
favor.
did research it with Mike, because Mike's got that installation in his house, and he was showing me the different things that can be seen on that from his house across the street in the library parking lot.
Yeah.
And I'm impressed with the cost of the security and what it can do.
But moving forward, let's.
Yeah, I'm in favor.
I mean, we can,
Good with it.
I mean, from that standpoint, it's one of those things like, if we want to do it with any of our other buildings in town. That is a possibility too, as long as we have a capability to have Wi-Fi there, so. Once we get broadband, we can actually have internet at the transfer station. We can put cameras up there too, fire station, cameras up there. These things are inexpensive, they're under $50 a piece.
Yeah.
And they're good quality cameras.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And your email, your town email, you wanna keep that?
We're in the process of setting up a new website for the communications district, and I'm thinking what you would, for our purposes in the town. When I'm dealing, because I'm probably gonna be the vice chair of the district, the way things are going right now. When I'm doing communications, it'll be using the district email address, But I also would prefer to copy my town email address, so that if you ever need to have access to any of that information, you can get it.
That's it, okay. I don't see a problem.
I don't see a problem, but.
I don't either.
You don't contact, agree.
I think, Chuck can
I have
contact
to
Teresa directly.
with her button, let her know that I can reach out to you.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'll let you know.
So it's still there,
It's-
yeah, okay,
Thank
all
you.
right, good.
Excuse me,
Okay.
just want to clarify, I heard an affirmative for yes to use in the building and yes to the camera.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct. Yes. We have some people from 48 hours of hunger. 68 hours of hunger and 68 hours of hunger. You have a 4:45, a couple minutes late.
Okay,
Go
all
ahead.
right. I'm Jan Brooks. I'm one of the program coordinators. This is Eileen Levitt, second coordinator, and Carol Simpson, our third coordinator for N68 Hours of Hunger. And we've worked closely with Patty Morrissey, who is the principal at Effingham School, to deliver food to children at the Effingham Elementary School. Patty's going to give a little background as to how we have just started our program over this past year and what has happened in the past at Effingham. And then I'm going to go forward and give you an overview of what we do, who we are as far as N68. And Carol and Eileen can answer any questions.
So we're talking about weekend food insecurity. There's your 68 hours over the weekend. And in the past, Effingham Elementary has worked with the Wakefield Food Pantry to provide students with pretty student-friendly food resources for the summer. For the weekend. So kids would go home with a grocery bag type size of kid-friendly stuff, mac and cheese, peanut butter crackers, raisins, shelf stable stuff. So in the past, we've worked with Wakefield Food Pantry. If some of you here might know the history better than I, but I believe that program was established with the Wakefield Food Pantry with a financial donation given by one of their members. This is sounding familiar, who, I don't know the ins and outs of the details, but the member said, I'd like this donation to go towards the school to fund weekend food for kids to go home with. That occurred over many years, I believe. During those years, N68 became quite prevalent within the school district and increased their outreach into the Ossipee, Effingham kind of geographic area. Also during that time, I learned that the financial donation that was given to the Wakefield Food Pantry was not given in perpetuity and self-funding. It had run its course financially, but the Wakefield Food Pantry had kind of kept up with their giving to us. Over the last year, Effingham Elementary has transferred to working with N68 as the provider of our weekend food bags for kids. We receive about 10 bags, that's roughly 10% of our population. We receive our bags on Wednesday or Thursday. Kids go home with them as soon as they are able, no later than Friday, obviously, to get them home for the weekend. Governor Wentworth provides the transportation of the bags. So Governor Wentworth has worked out an agreement with N68 for distribution, so the bags are delivered right to Effingham Elementary School. It's a pretty neat program. Kids are pretty excited to take home food that they can handle themselves. Very little of it, well, not very little of it. A chunk of it requires cooking, but nothing more than a microwave. It doesn't require stoves and cooking and things like that. And families are generally very, very supportive of the extra resources that go into their pantry and on their kitchen tables. So N68 as a group, an organization, is here to talk to you about how they'd like to move forward in providing these services at Effingham Elementary.
Okay.
Thank you, Patty.
Yeah, is that enough?
Excellent. I can go now.
Thanks, Patty.
You get to come feature.
I would like to say I've been in touch with Audrey and she sent the application to me for requesting funding. However, I did fill it out. However, then reading the cover page again, it said I need to complete a petition to the warrant article prior if it's the first time asking for money. So this is just an informational session right now, rather than any kinds of requests. So I do have a letter of intent that I give to you. If you wanted the budget that I've created, I can give that to you as well, but I can also wait because there's probably a timeline that you're working on. But I'd like to give you a little background. Our nonprofit organization works to confront the approximately 68 hours of hunger that some children experience between the lunch they receive at school on Friday and the breakfast that they receive at school on Monday morning. Our mission is to provide weekend food for an average of 130 preschool through grade 6 students each week. Due to the state of the economy and related costs, families of preschool through grade 6 children living within the Governor Wentworth Regional School District who are at risk of food insecurity look to and depend upon their child's bag of food that they receive each weekend. We are one of 49 chapters located mainly within the United States whose mission is to provide weekend food for children ranging from preschool to grade 6 who are at risk of food insecurity within the Governor Wentworth Regional School District. This includes Wolfboro, Brookfield, Tuftonboro, Middleton, Ossipee, Effingham, Ossipee Head Start and Crossings, and the Wolfboro Children's Center. Each child receives a bag of food on Friday afternoon or Wednesday, we make it work for whoever needs it when, that consists of 3 dinners, 3 breakfasts, 3 dinners, 2 breakfasts, 2 lunches, and snacks. Our organization does not delineate where a child lives. Rather, our goal is to ensure all children at risk of food insecurity receive food for their weekends. Therefore, our figures represent all children who receive food each weekend, not by school. We run solely by volunteers. We have about 45 to 50 volunteers who consist of retirees and staff and students from the Governor Wentworth School District and Brewster Academy who take an inventory, purchase food, pick up the food, bag the food, deliver the food, fundraise, publicize to keep the community informed of what we're doing, and document the financial expenditures and donations each month. The All Saints Episcopal Church has provided us with a classroom for our storage and a place to fill the bags and where the bags are picked up each week and then delivered to each of the elementary schools. The Governor Wentworth Regional School District has been very supportive to our program. They provide buses and their drivers who pick up the food each week at the Episcopal Church and they deliver it to the location that's accessible to the school. And also they've included one of their counselors who works closely with us as the liaison between N68 Hours of Hunger and the schools, who she talks with the counselors, she talks with the administration, she talks with the nurses, to find out, are there children out there that need food? And she gets the numbers and gives us the numbers, so we deliver them. We don't know the children, we just go by the numbers that are given to us and deliver them to the schools. The cost of a weekend bag of food. During 2021 to 2022, it was $14 per child. We had 111 children, and for 50 weeks, it was the total cost for the year of $77,700. 2022-23, this past year, it rose to $16 per child. We had 130 students each week for 38 weeks. That's the school calendar. And we had 30 students for 5 weeks over the summer. The total this year for $81,440. Financial support. Our local communities are very supportive financially as well as publicly. We hold an annual appeals drive, major fundraisers, and are sponsored by local businesses that our communities participate in and sponsor or provide financial support to us. Our financial obligations are solely for the purchase of food, the bags that hold the food, and bins to get the food from the storage area to the schools. 5% of our monthly proceeds go to the executive director. It is easily recognized that our organization takes a village. A combined effort of individual and business donations, along with fundraisers and grants received from the towns or private companies that enable us to meet our mission of feeding children who are at risk of food insecurity. We rely solely on donations, fundraising, grants, and town budgets to run our program. That's an overview of what we do. And any questions, thoughts? And as I said, it's informational. And we'll come back later with, when we know your timeline for when the request is due, or if I have to bring it to the, to petition for a warrant article.
Yeah, the petition would be first.
Okay.
And
So I just. Never done that before.
well, I'll tell you, the budget chair is sitting right behind you. He'll tell you exactly how about it.
That'd be great.
So my question would be, out of the $81,000, so. So you just said, I think you answered the question, I've never done that before, so you haven't gone through this avenue before. Seeking donations through each one of the towns and communities that you serve.
We've never had to request through a petition.
Okay,
Some towns in the district say, we know you well enough, you don't even need to, write us an application, you're gonna get the money. Others ask us to meet with the selectmen, others ask us then to go on to the budget committee. So we do a budget for each of the towns so that they see the number of students that they have had involved in our program, the cost of the program per week, per year, and how much it costs us, for all the.
That's what I would like to see.
Yeah, but we'll send that along with you. We will give you the information for Effingham, but every town gets their own information as opposed to, okay. That'd be great.
so would it be faster to streamline just to have her turn around and hand her request to the budget committee chair and to us?
We'll get 25 signatures for the petition tomorrow night.
But it's
What's the time?
non-profit, right? Isn't it?
Jake, can you answer this?
It is a nonprofit, yes.
So wouldn't it be the same as like the food pantry or any of those, David?
But
Yeah, all of them did put in petition warrant articles at one time, because that's always been in the town's set up with doing for nonprofits, submitted by a petition warrant article for the town to vote on it. And then after they get accepted by the town, then it's the automatic process they're talking about, comes before the select board and the budget committee for their budgets. Then it goes through, but the initial time has always been a petition warrant article for every nonprofit in this town. And it's just 25 signatures and placed on, and what I'm suggesting, may I just suggest that you prepare yourself for two questions that would probably be asked for me anyway. Is, we just gave the school board $655,000, so most people heard that. You're gonna get asked. That's only one payment that we make, but we make quite a bit. Have you asked the school board for any funding for this besides the buses? That's just something that I just want you to be prepared, because I have a feeling somebody will add that. Additionally, we had always been told on the budget committee that there was a private donor that was handing knapsacks out for kids for the food. We've always been told that. So be prepared to answer why we're not getting that. Are they still funding that? I just want you to have some ammunition you can think about, because I know people are gonna ask us. And the amount, obviously, that you have in mind of what you, those are three things that come right to mind from all the nonprofits coming before the budget committee that I know those questions that you asked, so you can think about those. You don't, I'm not looking for an answer. Get some information you can.
So can we put that in the petition?
We just, people will ask that when you actually have it up and it's up for vote, you may get those questions. And you may get those questions every year when you before the budget committee and the select board. But just so you have those type of things, there'll be more questions, I'm sure, but those are the ones that come into mind.
Right, thank you. What is the timeline? Like, do
I
I,
believe you have to have it in by October, I think it is. You have to have your petition warrant article, but it's right in the RSA, the petition warrant articles.
I didn't think it was till.
I didn't think it was till January.
Early January.
Petition warrant article.
You're right, it is January, yes. No,
Let's say October.
Budget is-
Whoa, what?
budget started in October, yeah. January, it is.
Our budgeting starts
If you go
October.
into
Just-
date calendar. And HMA important date calendar has all the listings and it has a date of when the petition warrant article. That's in my folder, I don't have it with me, but it's right on the line.
okay,
are you looking for the donations to start beginning the school year?
well, we turned it into an informational because we knew that we had to put the petition,
Okay. All right.
but we could ask if you wanted to get.
If you
Um,
want to, yeah.
this is, I don't know if I give this to Audrey or if I should give you a copy of the letter of intent to meet with you as an informational session.
Yeah, it's already.
All right.
Or Michelle.
Oh, Michelle, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Carol or Eileen, anything you want to add?
We've been, this is our 10th year in the district. Providing this service and it's gotten better every year and the support that we've gotten from the communities. And the school district has made it, we used to have to load everything into pickup trucks and haul them, and the majority of our volunteers are retired, so. It's really worked so smoothly now. And they're not the children that, some people say, well, are these all the free and reduced lunch children? That's not the criteria. The criteria comes from the teachers, the nurse, the guidance counselor, that this is a family in crisis. They need help, and that's all it is. It's not based on any government guidelines or anything like that.
Thank you for doing what you
Thank
do.
you very much.
Each bag has 17 food items in it, so we're giving them quite a bit of food. In fact, I wish we had brought one with us tonight. It's a good distribution. Most all of it is something that the child can eat if they do not have adult supervision, and they're really on their own, which some of them are. There's probably only one thing that really has to be cooked, which is mac and cheese. Other things can be eaten cold, as long as they can open a can. And 7 or 8 snack items that they certainly can easily. It's oriented, we are oriented to provide food for the child. So, sometimes people give us donations of food. We cannot send home a 1-pound box of macaroni and a 32-ounce glass jar of spaghetti sauce, which is the kinds of things that people are thinking. We're not a food pantry. We're providing food for the child.
Great.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming in.
Miss Lonnie,
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
It's been a long time.
On a side note,
Uh-huh.
the last time you spoke somewhere, my wife said, how can we get a hold of her? I'm just curious if by any chance you have a copy of the speech you gave to a school board. Meeting once about 23 years ago. You know what I'm talking
I know,
about, don't
yeah.
you?
I get myself.
I'd love to have a copy of that sometime.
I am with Howard. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Sometimes that's not a big.
You want some air? There's all kinds of it outside.
Well, it was 14 last year. Number 16.
Mr. Chairman, you can turn the air on for a minute, just
No.
bring it down a bit.
No.
We're gonna have to talk nice and loud if I turn this on, so I don't have a problem with that, but some people may. I learned it from the best.
Thank you.
He said.
My mother,
No. Vicky.
Vicky, yeah, if you say you can't hear, guess what? That's your fault.
That's okay.
If everybody talks like me, the world will be perfect. Who did this come from?
You want to host it?
I'll host one from Kelly Ale.
Leo and I don't wanna hold it.
Start one, you can start a lot.
Yeah,
You got that right.
did get a request from the health officer to contact the old health officer to get.
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, get a hold of him and his assistant to get any town stuff that they have and any reports. Stuff. I'll reach out to Mike on that. Under announcements, we got a special town meeting here at 6 o'clock. For a couple of warrant articles, housekeeping articles, so. Right now I'll open it up to public comment. If anybody has anything. You came in anyway. Yeah,
Seeing the problem with the rain, I can see that there's bigger problems than I have.
Yeah.
But at some point in time, in my, if I could get a culvert or something, somebody who knows what's going on. The road washes out in this range, and it's underpinning of the barn is going away. The stuff with the line, it's got an old crappy barn, but I would like to save it.
Yeah.
But I can't invest money into it.
what's your
It's 34 West Range Road. So if I'm not invest money into fixing
Oh.
barns,
Yeah.
then it just washes away. But it's not immediate, it's a long term. It's been going on for a long time. I just thought, but I didn't really look at that, I was more looking at the house, but as this green was so heavy, I was, majority of investors are probably. It's kind of. It's a dead end, so it's a crisis. And we can pass.
Yeah.
But it's an issue.
So I,
George Ford lives at.
Yep.
So he's very.
even without him, I have photo evidence that I was just recently there the other day. Brought these gentlemen's attention just the other day. I was up there looking at it, and there's several issues obviously that arise on that road. And again, and my statement earlier that
I know.
nobody's any, better and nobody's any worse than anybody else. We're all residents. We all pay taxes, and you're equally as important as the next person. And we just have to prioritize. Beautiful dog, by the way, that seemed like he might. No, he was latched on the porch.
Okay.
I'm a dog person. I love dogs. Most people would say, "Oh my God, that's a vicious dog," but I'm like, "Hey, that dog just wants somebody to stop and say hi."
You would. No, she doesn't bite. Take it.
Stay in the truck.
It's really hard. No, she really does. Take hard.
Yeah, I'll come take another look and.
A lot.
Yeah.
No, I love her. She's good.
Yeah.
She's actually good.
So let me ask you this as a resident, do you have issues with the 4x4 posts on the spring?
No, because I feel sorry for him, because he wrote twice. And nothing happened, so we got a little frustrated.
Well, so,
It's not my problem. I have no opinion. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah. that was one of the reasons why I was up there, so,
Oh, yeah, I know.
They-
That's probably not the right thing to do. though,
no,
because-
so without getting into his whole personal business and everything else, so
Yeah.
I was directed to the wrong household for all these times going there.
Did you buy this?
No, I wasn't directed to your house, I was directed to the house where the well actually sits on. You would think they would go together, but they don't, yeah, so,
So that's a problem, because that's the source of water.
yeah.
That's a drinker.
And unfortunately, I mean, I've been here 50 years. And it's always been there. That well's always been, that spring's always been there. So there's a certain amount of ownership that falls on somebody that has a spring that's right on the edge of a dirt public way. So,
So actually, it's the actual owner where the spring is, not the, that's running all the way to the next lot.
right.
Oh, yeah, I see it right.
So, but I just inquired, I just wondered if the posts that are now in place
Yeah.
affect you as a resident and all.
But actually,
that's
when I
right.
push that off, of the- whatever you call it.
Yeah.
You can follow him in.
Yeah.
So he had to physically look at himself.
Well, I put it back twice myself and it was never in the right spot, so.
Oh, well,
Then it,
no,
Then it offered the question of, well, what do we have to do to appease?
So I could actually talk to George and get some bigger culvert over there and remove the water, but we can't do that, it's a public road, so that's why I thought that was a little brave to do that, so. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, as long as you have an issue with the posts, it's a marker, so,
It's a wonderful gentleman, I don't.
but it's on our list. Your road itself is on the list. and-
Yeah, so the road, when you fix it, it's gorgeous, but it's still a problem for me because. The way it is, there's driveways on the other side, don't have culverts, so it all comes in my, and then I have to. Shut it up, give it my horse a bit, and then it's the bond.
So consider it free gravel paid for by the town of Effingham.
And I did want to horse it, so I people understand.
We'll come take a look again.
Yeah, it's the other side of the barn, it comes down the driveway, actually, I tried to fix it myself to begin with. Drive up the stones with them. And then I planted seeds like 4 times and. But I mean, I don't think it'll be a big deal.
It is, and I mean, I stated this in the last meeting, it has been an incredibly unusual year.
Sure.
Well over 20 inches of rain since the 31st of April, is that right? Yeah.
I do agree, but the barn was washing out, it's kept washing out for years.
Yeah.
The house is great, it's the barn.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's a long-term thing. I don't think it'd be expensive, just a culvert under the driveway possibly, I don't think it looks like a mistake. So. It might be an asset for them too. Who does the road? PDW, do you have PDW?
We do not.
That's private contract.
Oh. But it's- I don't have, I can't approach them, no, so.
So I can tell you that a 20-foot, 18-inch culvert costs $383 right now, so, and that's not bad, but we go put it, absolutely, you're absolutely right, we go put a $400 culvert in for a private driveway. We have to do that for every private driveway, you understand, so that's.
What do we pay for?
You should hire somebody, that's for your private.
I'll come take a look. We'll see if we can.
We have to do it first, if it's 650.
No, it's probably for your private.
No, over the next across the street,
Or everybody else.
not me,
Somebody else's driveway.
yeah,
Yeah,
but that was,
no, I'm agreeing with you, I'm agreeing with you, yeah.
we have a sign.
No, he had his hand raised and
I think George talked to me about a few solutions, but I'm not sure. Who agrees on what, who has the authority to do it. Probably isn't a problem in the winter. So even if it takes till next year, it's still willing to do it.
Yeah.
Might take it that long, it takes me time. But I don't wanna waste money, and then it's just oops, doing this.
again, I'll come take a look,
Thank
absolutely.
you very much.
Promise. Yeah, Mr. Sims.
Thank you.
Steve,
Lynn. We still on, track to, repay Elm Street, right?
yeah, it's still gonna get done.
Yeah.
I hope.
What I wanna know is, what are the plans for paving in the town? I haven't heard anything about it, but what would be next year's project? I know that forever we've been discussing that, Pine River Road was a good victim of that. Is that still viable or?
No, the project we're doing next year is gonna be Right Field Road. And then we're gonna look into Pine River Road as to what it needs, and we'll probably take out a bond, do that all at once.
Can I ask a question of? What was the criteria to picking Right Field Road as the next project? That's what I'd like to know.
Because we don't have the engineering done or anything on Pine River Road. And we'd like to do that in one shot, instead of putting it out a 5-year project or something.
Well, here's what I'm getting at though. What value is it to the town to get Right Field Road done? As opposed to at least 3 other roads I know in town that do more for the town have more impact on it, that are about the same.
That-
Scope.
Brightfield would probably be the cheapest road to do right now. That had a little bit way into it, and that gets pretty much everything this side of the mountain. Done.
I know,
I know there's Jones Road, Drake Road, there's.
and School Street,
School Street, yeah.
these are all ones
Iron
that
Works
showed
Road.
up much worse than Rifle.
Well,
Yeah, they are, Chris.
School Street is not chewed up worse than Rifle Road. And it is not traveled more than Rifle Road.
All right, well, how about going on Drake Road and Jones Road?
Again, those roads are not traveled as much as Rifle roads.
Oh, yeah, you got all your track trucks on that, on Rifle? Every one of your track trucks on that? So that, they're on Drake and Jones Road,
They are, yep.
and they're tearing the hell out of the road. And nothing's been done to fix them, and you saw what happened with that, because of that culvert that went. That was, a lot of it was due to the heavy trucking.
No, it was not.
Well, I'll tell you what, it helps to wreck it. Okay, all that,
Heavy traffic absolutely does.
well, I would present those two, if you don't wanna go along with School Street, which I think would be a good project, because it's right in front of the town offices. As opposed to Rye Field, but I'll tell you what, Jones and Drake have more heavy traffic constant than Ryefield Road ever thought of having. For large vehicles and whatever. Yeah,
Okay,
so I wanna know, is that all carved in stone already that you're gonna do Ryefield or what?
That's our project until we get on the fire. It's not carved in stone, but that's, we gotta put an RFP together, to get price on it.
I just wanna let you guys know that decision was made prior to me.
if I may, in the interest of time. I'm gonna shut this off for a second, just so everybody can hear me. Okay,
We can hear you.
I'm gonna make sure you can. So Steve, if you wanted my opinion, then I'm gonna give it to you right now. I think that the town needs to bond, because we're trying to fix tomorrow's problem with today's dollar. That does not work. We need to have a bond. This town has come to accustomed to spending anywhere between $400,000 and $500,000 a year on road projects. Elm Street is $420,000. That is a mile long. Pine River Road is almost 3 miles long. Do the math. That's $1.2 million.
Chris.
And that, nope. Let
Let him finish.
that's $1.2 million, rough math. And that's if we just grind and pave it, okay? There's a lot of work that needs to go into that road before that. If you go to the Ospey end of that road, it's shaped just like a bowl. There's all of those trees at anywhere between $150, $1,500 and $2,000 per tree to remove by crane. You're looking at well over $100,000 just for tree removal on that project, okay? So that's not something we just strike right after. And everybody says, there are some comments with the keyboard warriors that get on here, and they've got, all these engineering degrees that we don't have, okay? But they have plenty to say, but they're not sitting here tonight. And they say, well, why don't you do the same thing with Pine River Road you did with Townhouse Road and do it in a 4-year project? You're not talking about two same roads. They're completely different roads. They're completely different animals. The drainage, the way the trees are and the vegetation in relation to the edge of the road and everything else is completely different. I think that this town needs to consider taking multiple roads and doing a bond and fixing multiple roads at once in a big group. Jones Road, Drake Road, Pine River Road, Jones Road, Drake Road, School Street, Ryefield Road. Whatever combination, because we've come accustomed to spending $400,000. If we have a bond over 10 years or more, whatever, and we're spending $200,000 to $250,000 on a bond payment, then we are not paying for tomorrow's repairs in today's dollars, because that just doesn't work, and we're constantly going to be chasing our tails. We're never going to be caught up. That's what I would like to see done. I am trying to do the homework in saying to some of the paving companies, because we are working on an RFP. We did discuss that, and yes, it was prior to Leo coming on board. Chuck was here then. We agreed that way too much work is gonna go after the Pine River Road. Let's get something done for a cheaper money. It's 7/10 of a mile to do Ryfield Road. So yes, we were discuss that, but I am trying to do, and I am doing the homework. Jeff Perry is the contact person with GMI on the Elm Street project. GMI got the contract for Elm Street. So I reached out to him to say, how much in one lump sum in 1 year? Because we all know if you buy in bulk, you get it cheaper. That's why people have memberships at Sam's Club and Costco, right? As opposed to just one Hanford. So one lump sum to do this road, and this road. And then possibly bonding that, and looking into bonding. That's my opinion as a selectman and
That's fine, you don't have to talk down to me like I'm a dope.
I'm not trying to talk down to you, but you don't have to interrupt me. Either.
I'm just gonna tell you not to talk down to me, that's what I was trying to tell you. So now, the point is, I don't understand the grave necessity of just for something to do Ryfield Road. Does that thing scream at, let's get this repaired? We're not even putting a lot of money into crack sealing that. We're putting more money into the other roads, crack sealing them. And we're not doing anything for them. So you're gonna fix a road that doesn't have an awful lot of maintenance every year on it. Before you take care of other roads that are terrible. I don't think that's a very good choice, Chris. That's my opinion.
So talk about being disrespectful. So would you like to see the crack sealing done on Drake Road? Where it's completely blown apart, Steve?
You missed what I said, didn't you? You missed exactly what I said. You're not doing a lot of crack sealing on Ryfield Road, but you're doing a lot on Drake Road and Jones Road, and there's still.
No, we do not, have not crack sealed Jones Drake, we crack sealed Townhouse Road, we crack sealed Green Mountain Road. The roads that we've done reconstruction on, those are the ones that you crack seal to keep the water out of it.
Then you've gone over and the pothole work is unbelievable then. How's
Yeah,
that?
it's coal patch, but there hasn't been any crack sealing.
All right, you're not doing coal patch and stuff on Ryfield, but you're
Oh,
doing
yeah, we
coal
have.
patch on the other two,
Yeah,
not to the extent of the other two roads. That's what I'm saying is the priority. I don't know how the blue comes Ryfield Road. What's the big deal with Ryfield Road? What impact does that have on the town?
There's a lot of traffic on that road.
What kind of traffic?
Truck
We did
traffic,
it, we did.
vehicle traffic,
It
every
doesn't
day.
have truck traffic like it does for the other two that are leading towards the transfers.
We did the traffic study. Last summer,
Yes.
yeah, you'd be surprised the number of vehicles on that road. Compared to other roads in
I think a
town.
lot of people bypass the Green Mountain,
Yeah.
Elm because they don't do 16 because
Sunday afternoon or Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear you fight, but. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
I just want to say though, in agreement with doing the right field and looking at a bond, we're discussing it a lot.
I wasn't even talking about bond usually on groups of things. I was talking about what the criteria was to decide what the next road should be. That's what I was asking. Is it just for the sake of doing a road?
no, that was one that we could afford. And like Chris said, and I said earlier, any other road, Pine River, Drake Road, Jones Road, they probably have to be a bond for those. Because they're gonna require mega work. They fall apart because there's no base under it.
Pine River is gonna be like 1.5 plus.
So I know how bad Pine River is, and I know that it's gotta be a stage job. Talking 3-4 years maybe, do the whole thing.
Why? We can,
No,
We'll bond and get them done. Get it done. But that's the. One we're putting out, the RFP we're putting out, right?
That's taking that here.
and can I just real quick, I'm sorry, Vicky, can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
Steve, I meant absolutely no disrespect. The way I interpreted your question was what our mindset was and what our plan was and what our thought process was for going on to Rifle Road before anything else. And I didn't mean to degrade you at all. That is where my mindset is as far as the road plan goes and how we should move forward and save the town money and get our bang for our buck. So we're not continuously, not to beat a dead horse, paying for tomorrow's projects with today's money, because we're constantly gonna be chasing our tail. I meant absolutely no disrespect for that. If my tone, demeanor, or explanation, gave you that opinion, I extremely apologize for that. That was not my intention at all.
Fine. Thanks.
Vicky,
Can you speak up, please? State your name.
Victoria Kirkwood, Green Mountain Road, Effingham, New Hampshire. Zero It's the last time that you as selectmen approved a selectmen meeting. The minutes.
we're behind on minutes. I had somebody to.
Last time they approved them, I believe, was the last meeting in June. We just hired someone today and she's taking the last two meetings in this one.
Because the last one that's in here was May 2nd.
Yeah, the book's probably not up to date.
Okay,
Okay, I do have some approved on my desk. I haven't.
so they've been approved, but they're not in the book,
Yes.
so I can get a copy from you.
Yes.
And what dates? You know, those are,
I really can't do it off my head.
okay. Because I have May 16th, May 30th, June 13th, June 27th, July 11th.
Yeah, the May's done, June 11th is done.
You missed June 16th, we had a work session.
Huh?
Thank you for doing that.
What?
There's a couple work sessions that aren't complete as well.
Transparency.
Talking about work session. Board of Selectmen meeting that. I'm not even. I don't know, you know, that you had work sessions here, there, and then. Office. But anyway. I just, and the last one that's on the website is May 2nd.
Okay.
And so what I'm getting at is we don't know what's, if you don't.
Yeah, when they don't insert it after, and I'm sorry, I just can't do it all. And we've hired someone to help.
What happened to government oversight?
So I'm going back to the stuff.
When you were a subperson, did they do government oversight? Was that like way before you? Because then it's.
That was a volunteer organization that came to the meetings. And after the gentleman passed away, they no longer had anybody coming to these. That was Ed Camole that runs government oversight.
He died.
No, but the guy that used to come here with John Rattenberg did it.
That was like 2 years ago.
Yeah. But then they were up.
He does.
Okay,
Too bad.
yeah. Because that was a better, because it's just all the minutes are like. They're like waiting for the magic wand. I understand that it's hard to think of.
So what I guess what I'm getting at is. They've been typed up and
We hired, there's a couple that need to get put on the website and in the book that have been approved. There's 2 or 3 meetings that we hired someone, I've given her the videos, I've given her draft notes, and she's gonna have them for the next meeting. So they'll probably be approving 3 meetings worth.
And now only before they go on the website.
Well, that will happen pretty quickly once they approve them, yeah.
It's just, we don't know,
Yeah.
if he's not here, we don't know what's going on and what's been approved and what's been, so.
I've been here and I still don't know what's going on.
Not much longer, Lenny.
You all set there?
Yeah.
Yeah, you had something?
Yeah, a few things. First of all, it's great that you meet 4:30.
Hello, wait a minute.
Sorry, Blair Folds, 153, Effingham, sorry. Really sorry. Is there any way you might consider meeting a little bit later? No, this is the latest. It's just easier for people that work or have kids or other people that might want to come closer to things. But I'm happier even doing it at 4:30. It's better than when it comes to 3, so. It's just easier to get here for a lot of people if it's a little bit later. So I just throwing it out there. But
No, we discussed it.
Or at least it ain't from 9 o'clock.
yeah, but no, it's better than it was, and yeah, so it's all better. And back to minutes, so I have a couple questions, and I am still working on the Mina gas station decision. So I picked out some things from this document from July 11th that are specifically selected. So on that document, number 12 says that the town board of selectmen approved the underground storage tanks in 2021. So I have been attending this for 2.5 years, and I never remember any kind of discussion about the selectmen approving that. So I wondered if you could send me minutes from then where you either took a vote or something on that.
Audrey.
So I talked to the former selectman who made that statement at a planning board meeting, and there's nothing in the minutes, there's nothing official. I've been attending the selectmen minutes during that, during that time frame. I don't have a recollection. He then said it might have been a conversation in passing with zoning, and she doesn't. So basically what town council has said, that is that there's nothing to substantiate that fact.
Are they going to take that out of this very legal document? How
That-
do I,
that-
as a citizen and taxpayer, ask for that to be removed?
So I guess I can pass that on to town council.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're very welcome.
The next question is a question for the budget committee. It's also about this. Because according-
Can I just,
Yeah.
so at the last meeting, when all of the decision facts were read, Chris Bolt made the statement, because there was something brought up that night that says that the inaccuracy to some sort of degree on one of the 100 things. And Chris Bolt stated that I got the facts from statements and minutes. There was in fact a statement made. So that doesn't necessarily make that document inaccurate. The information may be, but based on what Chris Bolt stated, and that was the attorney for the planning board, for the Nina case, for the 100 things, you were at that meeting that night, and he did make the statement that the minutes,
This document.
that's not the thing of
notice
this,
decision, which is the completed notice of decision.
does that say 1 through 100? Turn it over, last page.
It's signed.
Yeah, this one.
Yep, so that is the document that we had in front of us, minus the changes that were the edits and stuff that last night of that meeting. That since been typed up.
So help me out to write something to the town, so this could be stricken from the record, because right now this document is a record. And it's gonna go forward that the selectmen said this, when there's no proof that the selectmen said this in 2021. So.
No,
that's
but
what
this
I'm saying.
statement was made by a former selectman that took place, and that's what that reflects. That a certain individual made that statement throughout the hearing proceedings. That is what is listed in there. That's what I said. The Chris Bolt told us that night. That document reflects minutes and statements that were made throughout the proceeding. And somebody did make that statement at that hearing.
But that was.
So that-
Now.
And again, you're saying that that makes that an illegal document. It doesn't, because that,
No, not. That statement, either give you the minutes or ask your town council for me of it. That's what I'm asking, if that's possible.
and all, this is gonna sound absolutely ridiculous, but if somebody if I said throughout that proceeding, that my first public hearing, I saw a purple elephant run through the gymnasium of the elementary school, that document would have to write that. Does that mean a purple elephant ran through that gymnasium? No, but that document right there has to reflect that.
But Chris, document.
The legal document states the facts of the decision of what transpired throughout the hearing. If you look at the minutes and the way that is compiled, it is based on minutes and statements that were made throughout the proceedings.
Okay, would it be helpful, it's one sentence, if for the record, I read it so everyone could understand what we're talking about.
I think we all know what you're talking about.
I don't.
After removal of the prior underground storage tanks and discussion with the town personnel, Mina LLC began reinstalling the underground storage tanks in the spring of 2021 with the town's board of selectmen's approval, which I believe is false. So that, I mean, I would be embarrassed if this is my town notice of decision and that's the fault. And then the next sentence is,
Should say
the
that's
cease
going
and
on.
desist that came from you, so that it's like. One of them needs something needs to be done. So anyway, you could talk to your town attorney if you've done to both about that. I won't belabor it, but that's not
Chuck, you
correct.
want to add to that?
I think from a legal process standpoint, Blair, you need to go back to the planning board, because that's a planning board document, not a town document.
You've not
If
said
there's
board of
If
selectmen.
there's an inaccuracy in that document, it's up to them to correct it, not for the town.
And item 13 should say the zoning.
Right, so
later
then
issue.
it's further down, I have to find where it
Item,
talks
item 13, should say the zoning. versus like-
about.
So I agree with Chuck, you need to go back to the planning board. What's your
Really?
opinions?
You're not, I'm going for Lagos, just saying. So the second question I have is a budget committee question, because according to our own procedures, Mr. Bolt should be paid by the applicant. And I've not been able to find out if Mr. Bolt is in fact being paid by the applicant and the budget committee coming on. Because the town should not be paying for that.
They are funded for the lawyer fees, the professional services, and they have approved to hire that attorney through the select board.
But the applicant should be paying those attorneys fees.
I do not control where the applicant is paid. They are authorized through the select board to hire who they want.
Right, they can hire who they want, but they shouldn't be billing the applicant, and I don't have that, I don't have it, we didn't bring it up.
That's another question for the planning board. We can easily answer that. I understand what you're talking about, Blair. They definitely should be going back and it should be charged to that individual for professional services. I agree.
That can go to the planning board, my letter to go to the planning board and
Yes.
say, why are you not charging the applicant for this? Because it's a lot of money that they were supposed to.
They should be charging the applicant to the office the fees that the applicant's supposed to pay. That's per the.
Say,
It does, it's in decision, it's either a 96 or 100. Or a 98, it's either a 96 or maybe 100. I don't know, I don't have it in front of me.
I had one more question, but now I'm distracted, so. Yeah.
Can I just say one thing about the going to the planning board?
Name.
Corey Lane, Porter, Maine.
Chris.
So I had emailed Michelle, who was very helpful,
No,
and Audrey, based on Chairman Bull telling, when I asked him this question, he said, go to the select board or he didn't say budget committee, the town administrator, I think. So that is the circle of George Bull telling the, in making this request to come to you. It wasn't in the findings of fact, as was North Point. It is in the site plan review regulations on page 8 that the applicant pays for the town attorney, not the residents. So that is why it's being asked here, because we were directed to the select board for this and the administration, and Mr. Bull said that's who takes care of these things.
Item 97 states that the board determined that the additional commission.
Yeah, excuse me, I believe that was, you put in a FOIA or 91A, so That's correct. The lawyer is correct. The town administrator replies to the citizens. The planning board doesn't reply to you. So I don't know if you know, I'm only here one afternoon a week now. So those came through email, like kind of over the weekend, and so tonight, when I'm done this, that's 91A because of the time frame I have to reply to you. I have 4 responses to you. 3 from Mr. Bull, and then the 4th one being. But basically the number 12.
All right, thank you. And I understand you're not here a lot, and obviously you can extend the FOIA.
Yeah, but that's what he was talking about, who's responding to the FOIA.
Okay, right, and
Yeah.
it's to see that the applicant is paying as required on the
Right.
site plan review rights.
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My
Well-
final question on that, is throughout this document, which is a plain book document, but it's going back to the town attorney was queried, and I believe the town, this was from April of 2021, I think. So it was a long time ago. I believe it was queried here in this office, and you asked your town attorney for a statement as to whether or not the gas station was discontinued. And the town attorney wrote a letter then that said, yes, the gas station was discontinued, the tanks were removed in 2015, it's no longer in use. Anyone applying needs to apply as a new gas station. And throughout this document, it does not say new gas station. And nowhere in this document does it talk about our own drinking water protection zone. It talks about rural agricultural zone, they never mention. So as selectmen, are you guys even aware that we have a drinking water protection zone, and are you aware of where that is? Libby and I don't live in it, but there are places in town that are very productive parts of Effingham. So what's the town's policy in protecting our ordinances and protecting our drinking water?
That went through the zoning process, planning board.
Did you remember the letter from the attorney, the town attorney? Okay, that's just another letter, but, okay.
Chuck, I understand.
I don't remember off the top of my head, David.
Yeah.
I have to look into the files and see what's there.
I can send you about. I have the.
Anybody else have anything?
Send it to Audrey.
Yeah.
Please,
Yeah, Dave.
Stage shows, yeah,
or Michelle.
I'd like to talk about the budget. I think I know the budget actual.
Okay.
Just to give you an update as of today. You're at almost 61% spending your operating budget. I know we discussed that you're in trouble. We're gonna take some things to curb it. You know, I saw an email coming out, Audrey sent out. Thank you. Right now, you should be at 56. You're at 61. And to put that in numbers, you're about $52,239 over as of today. Just on your operating budget. And again, I'll reiterate. RSA 32 says you can't go over your operating budget.
I understand that.
Okay, so I know you put some holds in place on calcium chloride and the trimming. I know that, so it still put the budget real tight. And I had sent a letter to the representative to the select board, to the budget committee. Asking for formalizing that email. Because I would request that that gets formally sent to all departments by a letter from the select board as opposed to an email. And I requested him that he show that to you, so please, I know you will be getting that. Maybe next meeting or the next work session, remember that when I sent you, Leo, about formalizing, you have it. Well, just recently, I sent you formalizing the email about. For the departments that control the budget.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So suggested. So it's just some things that doesn't have to be exactly what it is, because I'd like to see it formalized, or excuse me, my suggestion is to make it formalized. You go out with your choice if you want to send that out or not. That's all, and the other thing I'd like to bring up is. I know you're discussing far as roads and trying to take out a bond. Please involve your budget committee when you get into a work session for that, because you weren't here when we set up everything that we did. And there's reasons why everything was done the way it is. So please involve us. When you get into that, before you even consider a bond, because
Most
we don't
definitely.
want to vote no. To the select board.
It's a given date, not a problem.
Okay, so please just involve us on that, because I'd like you to have all the information of why things were set up the way they are years ago.
And that for the budget actual. We still have not received a dime from FEMA for the December storm.
Oh, I know that.
So, I mean, I forget what the final tally was, 55,000, I think it was.
But the last chief meeting had
So-
said that Bullcrow wasn't putting in and we weren't gonna be eligible. That's what he stated at the last meeting.
No, I said that, he said that jeopardizes it.
No, he said Bullcrow is not putting in for it, so we cannot pay in for it. Because we don't wanna have enough funds.
The chief said that here,
The chief said that at the last select board.
in public meeting,
In the meeting.
during the, oh, that's not what I heard.
But that was for this past storm. That was not for the December storm. That's what we're putting.
Yeah, that's the main.
We've already met. We've already met twice with FEMA. Everybody's met that.
Well, his implication there was we weren't gonna get it in that meeting, so maybe he didn't define it enough.
We got three stories.
Four,
Yeah.
four.
Maybe it's just the way
Four.
it came out.
We have 4 dates dating back to last December that FEMA is looking at the money. 4 notifications through Kurt, which I don't understand the asterisk over the I. What does that mean? German or something? I don't get that, but anyway, that's a side note. But there are 4 storms that we've been
We
hearing.
should have a consideration of possible money coming in. Probably
Would help.
by the end of this year.
I'd hope it would be.
Allegedly, they're supposed to be streamlining it. Especially after this last storm, because so many state highways took a beating.
I
But
hope it would be when. I agree.
Yeah, we're gonna need that money to pay for this storm.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
thank you.
okay. Anybody else? Linda?
Down the road for me where all the trash bags were. Whoever removed them, I don't know if it was him, I don't know if he was made to remove them. I don't know if our new health officer had a hand in it, but anyway, thank you. Looks much better.
Yeah, it does look better. Still a lot of crap there.
Long ways to go, still.
That's private property.
Private.
Yeah, it's private residence.
Okay, yeah, I know.
Much better.
Hey, anybody else? Make a motion. There's a town meeting separate from this.
Correct,
We can post something.
please.
Please.
I make a motion to adjourn from the selectmen.
Second.
Moving and seconded, all in favor?
Aye. Small community, got 'em.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Is this my voting card?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks.
Get some.
Excuse me, oh, your name, but if you do come out in that neighborhood, I know it's no